And now it's time to recap the Sunday of Download Festival. Now, as you may notice, Burb and I are no longer on site at Download Festival. It turns out it was impossible to record a wrap up at the very end of the day after the last band because everything kind of starts shutting down and going home. And then the logistics of recording the wrap up the morning after on the Monday was a little bit too complicated for us. So we're doing it now. Burb is back in Toronto. I'm here in London. I feel like I'm still in the heat of Download Festival. It is nearly 30 fucking degrees in my studio right now.
I can't believe I experienced a heat wave, man. Like, I was not used to that. I was just telling you before we started recording that it's actually overcast and rainy over here. It's like I'm getting UK weather in Canada, and I was experiencing like hot Canadian weather over there.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. It was the second hottest download that I can recall. It's pretty toasty, but yeah, a great one overall. And we're trying to remember as well, because this is at the time of this recording, this is Thursday. Yeah. With the last day of download was of course on the Sunday. We're having to look at, who did we see? What happened?
I know, I'm looking
as
at my
soon as we start talking about
phone,
it. Yeah, it'll start coming back. But Sunday was a very, very busy day for ourselves. There were some moments where we're trying to catch like snippets of different bands running around the place. So we'll try and get to all the bands we checked out and what our impressions were.
I think this was the day where we got separated the most and we just went off and did our own thing because there's so many bands. This was the most stacked day of this entire festival. Like, so many bands I wanted to see. And then I realized, oh, you can't physically see all these bands. It's impossible.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so I'm doing like laps, running around, catching all the sets that I can. But yeah, mostly it's just like snippets that I'm seeing today.
Yes, which is all right. It kind of depends, because if you go and see a snippet of a band and it's so amazing you want to stay, then you stay and you watch the whole set and you go, all right, the other band I wanted to see, I just won't see them this time around. But otherwise, you can get a taste and then see something else.
Yeah.
So my day started on the Sunday, I think the same as yours, which was main stage, Bleed From Within. Was that your first? Or did you see something else before that?
You didn't see 7 hours after Violet or anything?
I did not. No. Yeah. Did you see Orbit Culture?
No, I missed them too, because I've been getting back to my hotel at 1 a.m. every night because the shuttle bus just takes so long. And I couldn't fall asleep till 3 a.m. the night before. So I'm like, my body needs... We were supposed to film a podcast at the press event or somewhere. Didn't end up happening until later in the day. But yeah, I managed to get a little bit late and I caught Bleed From Within. And I think, did we meet up for that? Like, I don't even remember. It's kind of a blur.
I don't know that we did.
No.
I think, you didn't find us. You said, I think you caught the end of it perhaps, or a couple of songs of that. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed Bleed From Within. I'd seen them before at Download a couple of times, so I knew that they could put on a great show. And they absolutely did for the main stage. They had pyrotechnics, which was fun. They had great visualizations. There was a moment where the whole stage looked like it was on fire because all the LED screens had flames on them. Yeah. They were fucking great. Just balls to the wall, metal. And they had an incredible finish in one of the songs where they had live Scottish drummers and bagpipes come on the stage for the most epic of moments. Wait, did you miss that bit?
Yeah. Because we saw them later on. They were taking photos, like the Scottish bagpipe people.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, they look like the Bleed From Within people. Like, those are them. They performed. I'm like, oh shit. It's because I had to, this is my problem. I wanted to go catch Amira Elfaki, or however you say her last name. So
I have no idea.
Yeah, so I think it is Elfaki. Like, I heard her say that. Still probably screwing it up. But yeah, she's like Evanescence, like a little bit new metal. The crowd work, you can tell like this is a new artist. It felt a little bit like new. She was good. If you're into Evanescence, definitely check her out. And then yeah, this is just circling around. I caught more Bleed From Within. I saw Nothing More. Did you see Nothing More?
No, I did not. I can't remember why, but after Bleed From Within, I had to go somewhere else or something else. But yeah, Nothing More, I've seen a download before. They are a fucking amazing live band.
Yeah.
Was that your experience with them on Sunday?
Yeah, so again, I've only caught like 2 or 3 songs because there's one artist that I really want to see that's coming up soon. So I saw Nothing More, and they were closing out their set just like hitting the drums and just going off. Johnny Hawkins was in front of the crowd just like belting it out. Like, they definitely sounded really good live. But I needed to make sure I caught this band, which you were there for, which was Vower.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how familiar with their music were you before you saw their live set? Did you know their songs a little bit?
Yeah, so with Vower, I was following the lead singer Josh, his old band, which was Palm Reader, another UK band that I felt like never got the attention that they deserved. So I've been following him, and then he started this new band with Rebea, who's like this fantastic guitar player, pretty popular on social media, called Vower, and they dropped an EP, and their EP kind of sounds like stuff that reminds me of Thrice a little bit. It's like a little bit more slower tempo, but these vocals that belt.
Yes.
So great EP. The thing was seeing them live and Josh's vocals. This was the only show that gave me actual literal chills. There was one moment where Josh did a sing to scream, and I got the shivers on my shoulder. I'm just like, whoa,
that's so cool.
Yeah. What did you think of them?
Yeah, phenomenal. I mean, I'd see them once before at Radar Festival, so I knew that they had that. I was telling all of our friendship group, like, you got to go see Vower. It is like a wall of sound that you can just bathe in.
Yep.
It's kind of incredible. There's something very trance-like about watching them perform. And later on, I was talking to someone in the press tent about their performance. And I didn't get chills during their set, but I got chills talking about it. It's kind of an amazing thing, really. They're pretty special. It's very, very interesting band to keep an eye on. They're kind of unique in the way that they deliver things.
Weren't you talking to Scott Kennedy about them?
That's true, actually. Yeah, I interviewed Scott from Bleed From Within. I was asking him, who are the up and coming UK bands that you want to recommend? And one of them was Vower. He says he's the best vocalist in the scene, the Vower vocalist, and he also shouted out Unpeople as well. It's another great up and coming band.
Yeah,
so that was cool.
Yeah, I caught Unpeople with you, but I didn't stick around for that long. But yeah, people that are watching, listen to Vower. They were incredible.
Yes, they were super fucking impressive. After them, I think I had a bit of a gap there because I think after them I then needed to do the interview. So that's what happened during then. Did you see any of the next bands? I caught a little bit of Ginger actually. They sounded pretty good. They were playing their Pisces song, so I caught some of that.
Yeah.
I was walking around.
Yeah, no, I got a video of you.
Yeah,
trying to get
do
your
a reaction, Steve.
Because it's Ginger Pisces. Yeah, so I saw some of them. Thing about Ginger is that I do like their music. I don't really go out of my way to listen to them that much, but if they're on a playlist, I probably won't skip it, but I don't actively go out of my way to listen to them. I do respect them, but hearing their music live, holy shit, it's another band where their music translates incredibly well live. Tatiana sounded exactly like she does recorded. The bass was popping through in the mix just like how it is recorded. They sound so good live.
I totally agree. Yes, I think they're incredibly impressive as a band and as a spectacle, audio and performance-wise. But yeah, I'm not gravitating to their music. It's a little bit too frequent with the switch-ups and too kind of cerebral in its own way. I can't really passively listen to it at any stage. So, but always impressive live. I've seen them on the main stage a couple of times, and both times very, very good. Yeah. So yes.
So I think we accidentally bumped into each other for Ginger, right? So that's how I filmed that video you, because then we both met up to walk over to the stage to catch House of Protection.
Yes, but on the way there, I wanted to catch a bit of Alien Ant Farm, which we kind of did.
I just blanked. I forgot about that.
Probably for the best. I mean, I love Alien Ant Farm. I'm a huge fan of that band, and I've seen them perform live a couple of times, and they are always very, very good. Unfortunately for them, their sound mix wasn't quite right at the start of the set, which is the only bit I was able to catch. It was loud vocals, great, and you could hear drums, couldn't really hear the guitars. I've been told by others that they sorted that out within the first, 2 to 3 songs. But yeah, the sound wasn't really lending well for them. However, they had one of the biggest crowds I saw all weekend at the second stage. Yep. You could barely move for how many people wanted to see them. So that was cool for them. But we were on our way really to see House of Protection.
Yeah.
Now, you had not seen House of Protection before, correct?
Yeah, this is my first time. They are also a new band too, so I don't even think they toured Canada yet. Actually,
good point.
Yeah,
no, I don't think they have. I was lucky enough to see them live before. I saw their first gig in London, and I hadn't yet seen them at a larger stage, which is what this was, the third stage. I knew it was going to be good. I didn't even expect it to be as fucking good as it was. The sound for them was perfect. There's a lot of stuff going through backing tracks, which makes things a little bit easier. But the drums were all completely live. The vocals were completely live. There was also a live guitar over the top of it. Sound was amazing, but the onstage charisma, the energy, the performance was god tier.
Yeah.
They were one of the best sets of the weekend. and it was fucking incredible.
Yep. I have a good video of the circle pit going on and just like the cloud of dust building up. And I remember just watching that and like, I have to go in that pit. I have to. So, mind you, this is Sunday at this point. So the first 2 days, I actually stayed away from the pit because I didn't want to like injure myself and screw myself over for the weekend. So I'm like, oh, whatever. It's Sunday. Time to hit these pits and house protection. I went in for that one and I had a friggin' blast, man. Again, these guys, their music is great recorded, but another band where it translates incredibly well live. Because, like you said, the charisma on stage, the energy, and the crowd work that they have. The crowd was just eating it up, including myself. So they were definitely
And
one of the highlights.
you're burying the lead about that particular pit. That pit that you were jumping into, Steven, the guitarist and vocalist from House Protection, was in the pit. He was in the middle of it as we were circling around him performing. So I just see every once in a while I see Metalburn just bouncing up and down, going around him as he performed. It's fucking sick. But it was the dustiest tent I've ever been into. I was struggling to breathe. And that poor guy's having to like belt out these vocals at the same time.
That was one issue actually. After that set, I'm like
Yes.
for the rest of the day.
That probably shaved a good 4 months off of our lives.
It was worth it.
Yeah. No, they were exceptional. Absolutely amazing. And I'm stoked to see them again anytime I can. I think they're playing Reading Festival, which I'm going to. So looking forward to that for sure. They were one of the best sets of the weekend. Easy.
Yeah.
But
we had to leave early because
wasn't able to see all of House Protection because there was a band playing their first ever gig, which you gotta go see it. You know, how often do you get to see a band play their first ever gig? This was, of course, President, the much hyped band, only 2 songs released, you know, super group, but anonymous, secret, masked band, you know, good marketing, etc., etc. Had to go and see what it was about. And they played in the smallest stage. And as I expected, it was oversubscribed. It was like 10, well, more than that, like 30 people deep, at least outside of the tent.
Mm-hmm.
But we slithered our way in to catch the start of them. What did you make of President's first ever gig?
Well, yeah, I didn't expect it to be that packed. But I realized a good strategy towards the end of the festival was, since, you know, I'm still wearing the wristband, but it's press, and then busting out the camera because you're not allowed to have DSLRs as a regular viewer. So I'm like, oh, squeezing through, we need to get good footage. Like we're trying to get content here, but also just genuinely want to see what the first performance is like. And I didn't see it, but I heard that President actually came in like 2 black Cadillac Escalades or something.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So then, you know, actually seeing President live was cool. Also, the mask is still a little goofy.
So goofy. I've not even seen the show that you reference in your videos, but like it does look fucking weird. It looks a little bit to me like he's cut the head off of a blow-up doll and just put his head. It doesn't look cool in any way, shape, or form.
No, unfortunately it doesn't. But before I talk about his performance, you know, all day I was seeing people with the President logo on like wearing their shirts. So already people are wearing the merch. And then when President was actually playing, the amount of people that I caught actually belting out the chorus and stuff, I'm like, it's kind of crazy. It's catchy. It's just, it is. I don't know how to feel about it, to be completely honest. It is a new project that definitely is trying to use you. Look, we know who the old vocalist is, so I understand trying to do this whole anonymous thing as like a new way of getting into the music industry, but it still feels so kind of forced or something.
It is definitely absolutely contrived.
Yeah.
Right. It is a textbook like sort of industry plant scenario. I don't really have a problem with that though.
Yeah.
Because there's many ways you can enter a new form of music, a new band, new artistry, whatever it is. There's so many avenues to do it. And I don't think one is necessarily better than the other. It's just like it is what it is. And because they want to be anonymous in their own way, I think it even matters less. They don't have to earn their way up through small bars and clubs. It's like, well, just do your thing. Clearly, there's enough interest. Enough people are liking the music. It's fine. Yeah. And I'm not the biggest fan of the music. I think it's decent music. It's kind of solid, generally pretty solid. I don't really like the vocal effects in the verses. So I was intrigued to see live, would they heap on all those effects? And I didn't really detect them live. Mm-hmm. I could hear the fucking voice within that gentleman, and it sounded great.
Yep.
I was very impressed, actually. It was very, very good.
Yep. And actually, there was someone after the festival when I got back to Manchester on my last day, just discovered me from the channel. And then he was asking me about President. He's like, "Oh, what'd you think of President?" I'm like, "It's kind of crazy, the buzz around this band." And I actually was kind of honest with him. And I just it was all right. And like, it was so busy. He sounded great. It was cool. The mask is still silly. One thing I should mention though is that we both left the set early, so we did not hear the new songs, which is probably a good thing because for reaction content. But it's because I think you too, but definitely wanted to catch Meshuggah, which very disappointed. Only caught the tail end of Meshuggah, which is probably the biggest disappointment for me in this entire festival, was only catching like the last 2 minutes.
Same, because their second last song that my friends did catch was Bleed. That's the one I most want to see, and we missed it because President were fucking late on.
Yeah,
they started their set like 10 minutes late. If they had started on time, we would have seen Bleed. So I'll carry that with me for a while.
Yeah.
That was pretty sad.
But again, you were talking about it in person, that it is cool to witness a live debut, because how many times does that happen?
Yeah. It was a moment. It was download history. I had to be there for it.
Yeah.
And so I was. Now, after Meshuggah, the next band on my list was Spiritbox. I mean, tell you what, you give a little summary of Spiritbox. I need to open the door to the studio because it is now 30.4 degrees. I'm worried my computer is going to combust.
Okay.
How was Spiritbox?
So I think everyone knows how much Spiritbox means to me, and seeing them actually perform, they put on such a good show. They started off with Fata Mornanga, or however you pronounce it, and then for them to just rely a lot on their set was like the heavy hitters, like not so much the melodic songs. There was a lot of their set list was pretty heavy, and just like House of Protection, seeing the Circle Pit. Actually, I told your buddy that hold on to my bag if Holy Roller comes on. And then I heard that intro. I'm like, okay, here you go. And then I ran into that mosh pit, and it was a blast. There was some guy called the Water Guy. He had a blue hat that said the Water Guy, and he had a hose that he's literally spraying down the mosh pit, trying to keep people like cool. And there was one moment where he's just directly spraying at me. I'm like, oh. It sounds so weird. I know,
does, man.
But like, this is like 28 degrees, hot, sunny day. I'm sunburned. I'm like, yes, please, like in a mosh pit. But it was so fun. Like, again, my last day there, I'm going to go in those pits and experience it with the crowd. And for Holy Roller and what's the Soft Spine? Those songs were so good in the mosh pit.
Yeah, they were fantastic. But I knew they would be. I saw them earlier on, a few months ago at Alexandra Palace in London. That was the first time I'd seen them on a huge stage with the great, visualizations and LED screens and things. So I knew they had it, and I just had to hope for good sound on the main stage, and they did. So they absolutely fucking crushed.
One thing that was disappointing about that was, so this entire festival reception has been brutal. That Mike messaged me because he realized I was at Download, and then so we were talking briefly. And then I saw his message 4 or 5 hours later, which was, hey,
Mike Stringer.
Yeah, Mike Stringer. If you want, the viewing area to watch us live, just let me know and I'll bring you and your buddies. I didn't see that message until 5 hours later.
That's so sad.
Yeah. But I wouldn't have gone to the mosh pit because
you wouldn't have met the Water Guy. So.
Yeah, exactly. The Water Guy, the famous Water Guy. Yeah.
Yes, that was unfortunate. But we did manage to bump into Mike Stringer later on that night, which is a really, really cool moment because I remembered as they were playing Circle With Me that was the first reaction video I ever made. The first video on my channel was Circle With Me by Spiritbox. So to have been able to go to Download Festival as press to cover it in the way that I have, and hearing that song and talking to Mike Stringer about that song and their band was a really incredible moment that I'm still trying to process. That was he was such a lovely dude. It was a great time chatting to him.
Yeah, unfortunately you got to that a little late because I was already hanging out with Mike at this point because I was trying to link up with him, and again, reception was so bad. And eventually I found him, and this was after seeing Unprocessed and Lawrence Shore, which we haven't talked about yet.
We should talk about, yes.
Yeah, but the thing was, when I got to talk with Mike, we were both saying like, "Oh, let's go see." Like, I want to go see Sikth, and I said like, "Oh, I want to go see Sikth too." And so we were just talking, and then he brings me along to go walk with him to see Sikth play. And so I got to see a little bit of like the side stages where, like, you know, the people higher up get to go and cut through the crowd and stuff. And it was just wild to actually hang out with Mike, talk with him about, you know, we were talking like about South Park and music and talking about Sikth and how he's so influenced by Sikth, like the amount of times I've ripped off that riff from Bland Street Bloom and stuff. And it was cool to go side stage to see the prog metal legends like Sikth and headbang with Mike. We're both geeking out over this band that we both love, and actually becoming like friends and not just like music acquaintances was actually, yeah, definitely a highlight for me. Especially this is the last show that I'm seeing, because I've already seen Korn. Korn was playing at the same time, and Mike's already seen Korn 50 times or so because they were opening for Korn. So it was just wild to actually hang out with him and see Sikth and become buddies with him. And we, on the way back, that's when we bumped into you and also Manuel from Unprocessed too.
Yes, the lads from Unprocessed showed up as well, and we had a lovely chat very briefly with them because they were heading on their way out. But yeah, it was a brilliant festival for connecting with artists that we enjoy and chatting to them, you know, kind of off camera about their music and upcoming plans. Like we chatted to the Loathe guy for a bit as well. It was fucking wild.
It was
a wild weekend. Everyone was lovely. Now we should probably round out the other bands that we saw though. So after Spiritbox was for me Unprocessed.
Yeah.
And I've seen them live once before and I was duly impressed. And I was worried for them because they're on the smallest stage and the sound there can be a bit hit and miss, but the sound for them was impeccable.
Yeah.
Their sound engineer did a fantastic job. They sounded great. They did a good crowd, very engaged crowd as well. And yeah, they did a fantastic job. There was one moment I enjoyed. You're not allowed as an artist on stage to encourage walls of death because it's dangerous. People can get injured. So there's a moment he's like, all right, I want to split this crowd, split this shit. And then the whole crowd from front to back splits. And he goes, I've just been told I'm not allowed to say that. Just jump around like butterflies. Anyway, and just went into the fucking next thing. It was adorable.
Oh man, I missed that. Yeah, it's because I was trying to catch Laura Shore at the same time, but I remember walking over to the 10 area and hearing boom, 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 like the intro to Hell. And I was like, oh shit, this sounds so good. I caught the first two songs, and yeah, in process, they sounded just as good like as they do on the recordings. That guitar tone is so unique. It's so easy to pick it apart. But I had to go catch Laura Shore because I do like Laura Shore, and I had a cool spot where there was like this grizzly bear. Now, I didn't really read what the grizzly bear costume was. Like, I don't know if it's like Slaughter Prevail related or something else entirely, but people are taking photos with it. But to me, you know, I'm like, this kind of reminds me of Alex Terrible, like Slaughter Prevail. And then I just look over to the left. There's Will Ramos and then also Taylor Barber from 7 Hours After Violet Left to Suffer. And both of them doing Sun Eater and just doing the growls together and the pyro. I'm like, this is really badass. And like, this is a moment that they both like shared on social media, I'm pretty sure. So it was like a big moment for them. And it was cool to witness that. And also like, I got to meet with or talk to Taylor Barber and just hang out with him. Like I filmed a podcast with him, so I'm already acquainted with him, but it was really good to catch up with him. He's a homie too. And fucking badass, man. Great vocalist, both him and Will. But then,
yes. That's fair. I did not see them because I wanted to go straight from Unprocessed into Novelists, who were right after. Another band I really like and who are often amazing live. Unfortunately, their sound balance wasn't quite right in my view at the Dogtooth stage they were playing on. Couldn't really hear Camille's vocals that loudly in the mix, which is a bit of a problem because it's hard then to really connect with it. But they give it their all. And I think if you were right at the barrier, apparently I saw some comments that the sound was good that close. So probably have to be a bit close for that one, but that was a bit of a shame because I know they can be great. But it was nice to see they got a big crowd. I think it was maybe the biggest crowd they played to, so I was delighted for them. But I'm a bit disappointed with the sound.
Yeah, I had to do a whole lap, so I went to go see Bullet for My Valentine, and luckily I was there to capture Tears Don't Fall. And it was very.
I also heard that.
Oh man, it was so cool to see a UK metal band that's like one of the founding fathers of metalcore with a crowd of like 50,000 people or 60,000 people. Like most of them know the words "Tears Don't Fall" and all singing it out. It was so cool. That was one of the things I was hoping to see, and actually seeing that live was awesome. But after that, I had to go to see Novelist because, again, it's back to back. And this is where I took a funny video of like, oh, there's a Bullet for My Valentine and there's Novelist. Bullet for My Valentine, there's Novelist. Because like this is the dilemma that you have during these festivals when the lineup is this stacked.
Yes, that was the busiest time of the whole festival, I think. I'm trying to remember then what I did. I think Novelists, then I didn't see any other bands. I just collected myself and refueled the body in order to get ready for the headliner band. For me, you were talking about Sikth earlier. I did go to see Korn. I did see them earlier on. Oh, no, it was a year ago, I think. They played in London at Gunnersbury Park, and they were great then, but I really wanted to see their main stage download headliner set because they've been nearly at that level for a long time, and finally getting to embrace that role was pretty cool to see. And then they opened up with Blind, which is the first song they've ever put out on a record. So it was they did a whole greatest hits essentially. And yeah, all of that shit. So yeah, it was a textbook Korn performance. They did an excellent job, and it was a lovely way to close out what was a fucking stacked festival with largely very, very good performances by all the bands, largely really, really good sound for most stages. There were some moments where weren't quite that great, but it was awesome. Oh, my lights just turned out. Hang on, I'm going to plug that in. But while you collect, what are your overall thoughts?
Well, I was going to say, you missed out on some good deathcore bands, because before Korn and Sikth was, we got Fit for Autopsy. We also had Whitechapel, which you wouldn't have cared for Whitechapel's set. They were playing a lot of their heavy stuff, but Fit for Autopsy, I think, is a band that you would actually like. I don't know how familiar you are with their music, but
I've heard some bits and pieces. Like Kira's been trying to turn me on to them, and I think I have enjoyed some bits, but for whatever reason, I haven't found the itch I really want to scratch there. But I would have liked to have seen them if I wasn't so wrecked.
I know. They fucking ripped live, though. They sound so good. Definitely check them out. But yeah, Whitechapel was cool. And then Korn, I saw them recently. Korn's also a band that's not really up to my speed. I've already checked out like an album or two, and not my thing too much. But yeah, I had to go see Sikth, which was fucking awesome. I do want to say one thing about the side stage, though. Although it was amazing to experience side stage with Mike Stringer, the one issue was the sound quality, obviously being to the side. Didn't sound that great, but it's more just the vibe. And actually, I have a cool video of the guitarist Pin making direct eye contact with me and smiling while he's like shredding, because I met him like the day before and he recognized me. So it was cool for him to make that connection.
Yeah, side stage sound, I think, used to be better before in-ears, because you'd get sound from the wedges on stage of the actual speakers that people used to use for their monitors. Now, in-ear monitors, pretty much all you would hear is the acoustic drums and maybe whatever you get back from the crowd. So that's been a bit of a shame. At some venues, though, they'll add like a side stage monitor, so you can get a little bit of a mix that way. But yeah, that is the downside. But you get a view that is a very rare view to see, and that's kind of the value.
Yeah. Yeah, this is already the longest podcast that we filmed for our daily recaps, and that's because of just how insanely stacked Sunday was. Literally 25,000 steps a day is what I've been doing, and just like, yeah, it's been a workout.
Well, it was a treat, and it was so fucking great to experience it with you, man. It was sad as fuck. I really missed Drew as well. What could have been, but next year we'll make sure that happens. A full trio. But it was lovely. And we met some really nice people over the weekend. Lots of people said hello to us and said they enjoyed the podcast. Sometimes they refer to it as the Sleep Token podcast, which is quite fun. But yeah, it was a lovely time. Your first ever festival. Well done. And thanks for finding your way all the way across the Atlantic Ocean to come and enjoy it. It definitely made what was already a great weekend for me a better one, because it was fun hanging with you and enjoying those bands with you. So
it was so fun, man. Yeah, like I genuinely mean it's unforgettable. Like I'll never forget that festival.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Download Festival as experienced by 2/3 of the Metal Roundup. Hopefully next year we'll go check it out again. I'll be going anyway, but if we can get the two other lads from this podcast to join, that'd be pretty fun and special. So Drew, this is the last one you're going to miss, sir.
Yeah, you can't miss this one, man. You can't miss it.
Yeah. But hopefully you enjoyed these recaps of our days there at Download Festival. Let us know in the comments if you bumped into us where you did, or what other bands you saw that we have not covered that you thought were really good and you want to shout out in the comments. We'd love to check out your thoughts as well. But thank you for joining us a little bit on this journey. And the next episode we do will be a more normal episode here at the Metal Roundup. We'll have Drew Fortune back, and I'm not sure what we'll be chatting about as yet, but see you in the next proper episode here. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good one.
Peace.